in the second half of the season wasn't the same as what it had been the previous year and a half, and so I'm still very encouraged with where they're at. We do need to help supplement them on that side of the ball, free agency and the draft. But you look at the offensive side, and there are playmakers. It's just a matter of getting it to their hands in space.
Yeah. We're at the NFL Combine, second year in a row. It's all brought to you by Steinhoffels in the big media room right now, and we are joined by Ben Johnson, Bears' new head coach. And it was great chatting with you off the air, getting to know you a little bit. And I want to hear you give a scouting report right away on your first month of the Chicago area. I know you're in deep with the team.
Yep.
But like you would do for a team, what do you like about the area, who you run into, maybe a restaurant or two you've been to? What do you think about our community?
I love the community, the little that I've known so far, because I'm telling you, been in the building and I'm leaving. I'm going straight to the apartment to sleep and then come on back. So I haven't seen as much as I'd like to yet. I have gone downtown Lake Forest. I picked up a burger the other night at Sophia Steak.
Oh, yeah.
And that was outstanding. So I think I might have to take my wife there next time she comes into town.
She'll like it. The steaks there, little lobster shishito peppers, perhaps.
Okay, all right.
That's my tip.
Yeah, I keep it simple. That's nothing that I'm going to. You guys can talk about that. I want to know more about what was on your to-do list, football related.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's been 5 weeks now. I was just looking back at that this morning, and it flies by. And the first thing I needed to check off was the coaching staff and deliberate process. I made a point to make sure I was going outside of my circle. I did not want to hire friends for friends' sake. And so there's only a hand. You can count on one hand the number of people that I've worked with in the past. It was all about finding the right mix, finding the right compatibility, experience with energy, ideas, some grunt work guys that are willing to do anything to get the job done. And so I feel really strongly about what we got to. I think Dennis Allen's going to be outstanding for us as defensive coordinator. He's got a lot of skins on the wall, obviously, from being a head coach in this league. But anytime he's coordinated or called a defense, they've been statistically extremely good. Third down, red zone, a lot of the vital areas you need to be playing winning football in this league, in my opinion. And so that was encouraging to me. And then having the head coach experience was just gravy on top as far as I'm concerned. I love, it's probably the favorite part of my day right now is going into his office and sitting down for a good 20 minutes and just going back and forth, whether it's on the roster or the schedule or things that are going on in my mind that he can help navigate me through. And so he's been a great sounding board. And listen, that's just the tip of the iceberg. He's hired a lot of guys on his side of the ball there on that defensive side that we feel strongly about. Al Harris is going to be a great addition for us. We feel good about the duo in the D-line room. Bill Johnson has been doing it at a high level for a long time, and Jeremy Garrett is going to be in there with them, high energy. And then Richard Smith is another coaching vet that, he's probably forgotten more football than I know at this point, and so feel really good on that side. And then you look at the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, we went young at offensive coordinator with Declan Doyle, but you talk about sharp. He's on it, detailed, organized. Is going to work his tail off. He's going to be exactly what we need whenever I can't be in that room, just to keep the operation moving. And the big point of emphasis for us, as we all know, is going to be getting the offensive line playing at a higher level this year. And so Dan Rochar coming in on board, he's going to spearhead that movement. Talk about a guy with a lot of experience, very smart. We were very much aligned through the interview process on how he was coaching it with what I've been exposed to in my past. And so I think we can hit the ground running, and we're not going to have a big learning curve of getting on the same page. So, listen, I could go on and on about the coaching staff.
I love the fact
this whole time. I don't want to monopolize the time.
No,
though.
this is great.
I love the fact that the concept of a dissenting voice always is appealing to me. Like, at the end of the day, it's your offense, and you're going to do what you want to do, but sometimes somebody will bring you something that maybe you weren't thinking about, or that is in conflict of maybe what you thought. And then I think everybody can kind of grow from that. Is that kind of the approach?
There's no doubt. There is no bad idea, and so we need as much collaboration as we possibly can get. And guys can't get discouraged when, they're bringing up their 15th idea and the previous 14 have been shot down right away. It's like, no, keep bringing them, and that's part of the process. We're going to listen. Everything's open-ended here, and so it's going to take all of us. And I'm really excited about what we have in place right now.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson joining us, Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. Was there a guy, I don't want you to pick favorites, but of the guys that you listed, you always have a vision on what your coaching staff's going to look like, that you weren't sure that you could get, and when you got, you're like, I got him. This is big.
I could do that for a number of guys. I would say that the two were Antoine Randall on offense because he was already there in Detroit. I know him. I know what type of person he is. I know what type of coach he is. I know what type of impact he has on the people around him. And, being able to get him out of Detroit, I wasn't sure if Dan would give me his blessing on that or not. And fortunately he did, because it's a homecoming for Randall to a degree here. And so it's going to be a great thing. That helps give me a lot of confidence with where we are on offense. And then on the defense side of the ball, Al Harris, I couldn't believe he was available. We competed when I was in Detroit against Dallas the previous 3 years, and each year those DBs have played their tails off. And that's what I respect more than anything, is when you're looking at all these coaches, your resume is how well your players play, I believe. And Al's players always played at a super high level. They got a ton of takeaways, turnovers, competed. And so that's what I'm excited to see those two go at it once we get to training camp and we get some of these one-on-ones versus receivers and DBs, because I know they get a little bit fiery once they hit the grass as well.
Yeah. Well, we were talking to Ryan Poles earlier, and I asked him the question, what is something that he's learned about you that maybe he didn't know before the process started? And he said all the talk about you being more of an introvert, for whatever reason, that was the scouting report on you. Why do you think that was? And there's a presence about you. We were at your press conference, and you had a presence. When we're just talking to you, you could feed off of your energy right now on and off there. Why do you think that was said about you?
Look, I don't know. Here's what I will say is, I alluded to this when I got hired, was every step of the way, quality control, position coach, coordinator, you do what's essential for that job requirement, okay? Now that I'm the head coach, that's a completely different description than it was before. So, yeah, the last few years I was solely focused on scoring as many points as I possibly could until the head coach told me not to score any more points and start taking a knee. Like that was the mentality. And so everything that I did was consumed by that thought. Well, it's different now. And so, yeah, you might see a little bit more personality come out now. And that's part of the job, and so I'm glad to hear that Ryan is feeding off that a little bit. I mean, we're just still in the early stages of getting to know each other, and so far it's been phenomenal. I tell you this about him. The whole setup he's had, I've been able to sit in at some of these draft meetings and watch his operation go, and it's just clockwork, man. It's you go in there, and it's the area scout going first, and then the national scout, and then it's boom, boom, boom. They know their order. You talk about the epitome of efficiency. Like they are rolling right now, and so you go in there your first time as a head coach, having not done that before. And it just really inspired a lot of confidence. Man, we know what we're doing. Those guys know what they're doing. And now being able to get our coaching staff to have a voice as well, I'm fired up.
You've watched a lot of film, I'm assuming, so far from of this team from last year. What do you see across the board? What do you think you need to fix or work on?
Listen, I've met with a number of these players. They've come up to the office and just to introduce themselves. And when you talk about last year, what was lacking, the accountability, that's the word that's probably come up more than anything. And so that's something that we're going to address. I can't help myself. I'm going to be very blunt and very honest in how my version of the truth, I guess you could say, going forward. And so is the coaching staff. They know what the task at hand. But beyond that, though, I think we've got a lot of really talented pieces already in that locker room. I can speak firsthand, having to compete against that defense for the last few years, excuse me, those guys play at a high level. They are relentless pursuers of the football. Takeaway is part of their DNA. That's what they want to do, is get the ball back for the offense. And I noticed from afar, just Billings is a name that I brought up, but a couple guys, the attrition and in the second half of the season wasn't the same as what it had been the previous year and a half, and so I'm still very encouraged with where they're at. We do need to help supplement them on that side of the ball, free agency and the draft. But you look at the offensive side, and there are playmakers. It's just a matter of getting it to their hands in space.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is one of the best run-after-catch receivers in the NFL, and I don't know that the rest of the league knows that per se. So we just got to find a way to get him the ball a certain number of times every game. Of course, he knows he better be blocking as well, because no block, no rock. Okay,
yeah,
so
I love that.
I think his position coach will make that quite
that's
clear
right.
to him.
That's why Randall L's here. So we'll get that part done. But Rome, same thing. I think he's just tip of the iceberg and what he's capable of doing. The contested catches, outside the numbers. We'll find out what all we can help develop in terms of his inside route tree as well, and then. We've got Cole Kmet, who had a down year last year, but I'm really excited to work with him. You talk about meeting a man for the first time and enormous features. His hands just absolutely took over mine. I mean, I couldn't believe how big his mitts were. And then you look down at his feet. His feet are about twice as big. I mean, it's just it's fun to look at a guy like this. I mean, I haven't had a tight end quite like this before.
Yeah,
so
you can make him better. And my question for you was going to be, Waddle and I have talked a lot about this. Good players who didn't produce like we expected them to produce. One of the areas was DJ and Caleb didn't have the chemistry. Cole and Caleb. And a lot of it's rookie quarterback. Besides the playbook, is there anything that you can do to expedite the chemistry? Whether it's off-season workouts, encourage those, anything that you can enhance that chemistry and build it up.
Listen, in the National Football League, these guys better be working together when we're not in session. They better be, or they're going to be falling behind. So that's going to be an onus. It's on Caleb to get those guys, whether that's out in California, whether that's down in Florida, wherever they want to go. But, they got to put in some time on their own to get that done. But there is no substitute for reps, and that's the only way you get on the same page is rep after rep after rep. I lived that life the last few years with Jameson Williams, and it might take some guys a little bit longer than other guys, and that's okay because we're willing to do whatever it takes to get on the same page, and that's really where it gets fun and everyone starts to flourish when that happens.
You've had an outstanding running game the last 3 years in Detroit. I know that's kind of the foundation of what you want to do. Do you have the adequate pieces to do that, or is that part of this offseason, finding guys that can help you establish that running game early? Yeah,
listen, we don't know exactly what the roster is going to look like entirely, from the O-line room to the running back room. Tight end is going to play a big part of that. And so we'll see once we get all the pieces together what that ends up looking like. But diversity in the running game, I do think is important.
Yeah.
I think if you just say, hey, we're going to line up and run outside zone 30 snaps in a game, I think defenses have caught up to that. And so a variety is going to be critical, and we'll find out how far we can push that envelope.
What excites you most about Caleb Williams?
I think the ability to improvise and create on his own.
Yeah.
He feels the pass rush. He's able to break the pocket, break tackles in the process if necessary. But his ability to throw the ball accurately outside of the pocket, I see explosive plays all over the place.
How do you, though, balance that with him also playing on time and playing in the structure of what you're going to ask him to do? Right.
Well, that's the trust level, too. He's got to trust what we're trying to get done. We'll talk about it once he gets in, the intent of the play. What are we trying to do? And whether he can trust to stay in the pocket just to take longer to deliver it to number 2 in the progression, or does he need to get out of there and go ahead and extend it? Because that natural playmaking ability, that's part of what makes him special. We don't want to take that away from him. And so I think there's some things we can do to actually help augment that when he does naturally do that, in terms of some rules we can have once he breaks the pocket, to where we're getting guys open for him down the field as well. Yeah. So it's going to be a weapon.
Some of the talking heads, again, and this is the perception thing that I brought up about you, the perception that was out there. when the Bears were going through the coaching search, a few of the guys on ESPN said, I'm not sure if Caleb and Ben Johnson can work together because Caleb can't get the ball out on time in Ben Johnson's system. What do you say to that to counter that?
I wouldn't put a cap on anybody in any way. You know, I wouldn't put a ceiling on what I'm capable of doing as a head coach. I wouldn't put a ceiling on what Caleb's capable of doing. I think both of us have plenty of room to grow, and that's why you do this thing. We're into this journey together, and I told Caleb that his success is my success and vice versa, so we're really tight at the hip. And like I said, hey, I can't stress it enough. I just can't wait to get going with him.
Did you get a call from the Cubs yet to throw out the first pitch?
I'm still waiting for it.
They have not. Wait, the Cubs haven't called you yet for the first pitch?
No, I've been practicing too. I'm going to throw the piss out of that ball. It's going to be a strike.
No. Can you get to the bleachers now, or is that off limits in your first season?
I'm going through the airport. No one even recognizes me in the airport, so I'm good. I think I'm good for the bleachers.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. Outing. And I don't know if you know this, that part of our deal with ESPN 1000 is a flagship station. We get one of your draft picks that we have some input in.
All right. Yeah.
Whether it's a 7th rounder, we'll take any of them.
Okay. All right.
You're cool with
that?
Well,
you've agreed with Ryan?
It's part of the deal.
Okay.
Well, we're trying to sneak it by the first time.
I'll talk to him for you. There you go.
I don't want the pressure of making a draft pick. That's on you. That's why you're here.
It's great to meet you. Great to talk to you. And let's, like you said to us off the air, let's win, right?
That's it. Win and win now.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great to talk to you.
Thank you, guys.
Ben Johnson, head coach of the Bears. It's Waddle and Silvy. We're back at the Combine coming up next on ESPN 1000.